Do you want to crack Azure Data Engineering interviews in 2025 and looking for real-time scenario-based questions? So let me tell you one thing, Azure Data Factory is the backbone of Azure Data Engineers, and your 90% of the questions will be revolving around only this particular technology. So in this video, we will cover all the latest Azure Data Factory conceptual questions plus practical real-time scenario-based questions which will make you interview ready. Not only this, you will also learn about Azure Data Factory solutions design and architecture level questions. So I think now you know this video is only for those who want to crack their dream roles this year. So if you are one of those, let's get started.
My data fam, what's up my data fam? So today's video, oh man, today's video is so special. Why? So the thing is, if you are just planning or if you are already preparing for Azure Data Engineering interviews, let me just tell you, your 50% of the overall questions will be coming from this area alone. And if you will ask me, hey Ansh, just give us the proportion if you want to just divide this area only on the basis of Azure, then your 90% of the questions will be coming from this area alone. Why? Why? The answer is very simple. Azure Data Factory is the backbone of Azure Data Engineering. Why? Because the thing is, Azure Data Factory is an ETL tool. Azure Data Factory is an integration tool. Azure Data Factory is a data transformation tool. So it does everything. It does everything for you. Plus, Azure Data Factory is everywhere. Obviously, if you are using Azure Data Factory, it is already there. Even if you're using Synapse Analytics, it is there in the form of integrate services. Even if you will be using Fabric, it is there as the name called Fabric Data Factory. So Data Factory is everywhere, bro, everywhere. And it is so critical that companies are building complex pipelines just in Azure Data Factory because of its low no code and its scalability and everything. So if you are just applying for Azure Data Engineering interviews, this is the video that you should watch, and I think you have to watch. Why? Because the thing is, in this video, we'll be covering everything, like all the types of questions. First of all, we will be covering conceptual questions, obviously, because you should be familiar with questions. Oh man, my hair. Oh. So obviously, you'll be just covering conceptual questions. Okay. Second, we will be covering practical questions as well, which are based on real-time scenarios, bro. Because in the interviews, you can be asked to perform those scenarios in the virtual sandbox. So interviewer will say, hey, I'm just giving you the access to the sandbox. By the way, sandbox is just a virtual environment in which you can just perform all the things that they want to do. So how you will be just doing that? So along with the conceptual questions, we will be covering practical questions as well. And the third thing will be questions related to design. Because being a data engineer, obviously you should know how you will design the solution, how you will approach to the solution. So third type is, you can say, recently added to the interviews, because companies are expecting that you will also build the solution for you. Because now the thing is, we cannot build like generic solutions for all the projects. We have to design something new. We have to approach with different strategies, right? So in this particular video, we'll be covering those questions as well. So this video gonna be really helpful for you, and trust me, bro, trust me. And these questions are all updated, so I have not included some old questions. So all the questions will be updated and as per the trend, like recent trend of 2025. So this video is for you. So now it's time to actually start with this video. And before starting with this video, I will create my free Azure account. Why? Because as I just mentioned, we'll be covering practical questions as well. So in that particular scenario, I will just show you how you can perform those things in Azure Data Factory. So it will be really helpful for you. And even if you just have like normal understanding of Azure Data Factory, you will learn a lot of things in this video. Okay, so buckle up and it's time to actually learn. Okay, Plus, just take out your notebook because it's really important to just mark the question, just write down the answers to the questions, because I will not be writing the questions for you, because I know otherwise you will say, hey Ansh Lamba, can we get the PPT? Can we get the slides? The answer is no, bro. If you are just applying for the interviews and if you are not dedicated enough to write down the answers, I don't know what type of attitude you are carrying in your interviews. So it's your responsibility to write down the answers in your own language, because that's how you understand the concepts, right? So without wasting any time, let's get started with this video. So in order to create your Azure portal account for free, I have already told this in so many videos, but still it's my duty to tell you this thing in this video as well. So simply go to your Google tab. So then just go there and just search Azure free account. Just search and you should just click on the first link. Okay, simply click on this and then just click on try Azure for free. Pay as you go is a paid option that will just charge you on the basis of the services that you'll be using. So simply click on try Azure for free. Click on this, then it will just ask you to put your email ID. So if you do not have any Microsoft email ID, you can simply click on create new and then you can just put it here, and you can obviously use that email ID in future as well. So once you put that email ID, then you will land on the page where it will just ask you for your information, such as like how much you earn, how many friends do you have. I'm just kidding. So it will just ask you to just put your name, your address, your phone number, your email ID, all that information. So then click on sign up. That will come on the bottom of the screen. Then you will also see that you will get 200 US dollars. Do not worry, you cannot spend that US dollars in anything else. You have to use those US $200 within 30 days using Azure services. Okay, so it is a good thing that you can just purchase services and you do not need to pay to anyone, and it is just available for 30 days. So when you just click on the sign up button, it will just ask you for the card details. Do not worry, it will not charge you anything. It is just for the confirmation that you will be the one who will be using Azure services. Simple. Okay, okay, okay. So that is the thing. Do not worry, it will not charge you anything. After 30 days, all your services will be nullified if you do not upgrade your account to pay as you go. And even if you do not reply to that email that, hey, I am not interested to upgrade my account, it will not charge you. Do not worry, do not worry, do not worry. Trust Azure, trust Microsoft, trust Bill Gates. So now, once you create your Azure portal account, I will just show you how you can just log into your Azure portal account, the real Azure account. This is also like email ID, but that will become your Azure portal account once you create that. Okay, so simply go to a new tab and then simply search portal.azure.com. Okay, then you need to put your email account that you have just created, or like you can say just validated. Okay, simply do that. I put my credentials and this is the page that I get in return. So don't worry, this is my personal Azure account, so do not worry about these services. These are the services that I have recently used. Let me just click on favorite so that you do not feel sad, do not feel left out. I know FOMO is killing everyone. So don't worry. So these are the services that you see. By the way, don't worry, I will not teach you Azure in detail, but yeah, I will just tell you everything about Azure Data Factory. So this is the area where you will see all the Azure services that you will use maybe, or you have used already in the future. So maybe you will see some other services here. Do not worry. Okay, these are some random services that Azure shows. Then the main thing is when you just click on these three bars, you will see an area which will include your all the go-to services that you will be using on a daily basis, such as obviously homepage, dashboard, all services that you will be creating. Okay, all resources, resource groups, like all these services are there, all services are listed there. And some of the major and critical ones are cost management, billing, monitor, enter ID, storage accounts. Obviously this is the area where we create data lake. Okay, so forget about that, do not need to worry. First of all, if you do not even know like what is resource group, I should just tell you. By the way, you should know, bro, you should know. So resource group is basically a folder in which we store all the resources, everything, either it's data factory, synapse analytics, data lake, everything. Okay, so without wasting a time, I will simply create a resource group. Oh, by the way, This video is obviously for the Azure Data Factory interview questions. If you want to learn Azure Data Factory in detail, I have created a dedicated video, I think of 4 hours long. You can definitely watch that video. It will just upskill your, it will definitely upskill you to next level, because I have covered real-time scenarios and so much stuff in that particular video. Just watch that video if you want to learn Azure Data Factory in detail. And if you already know, then obviously this video is for you to prepare for the interviews. Makes sense, right? So I will simply search resource groups and I will create a new one. By the way, these are like my old resource groups that I haven't deleted because of the laziness. Okay, so first of all, I will simply say RG, and then I will say ADF, and then I will say interview. Okay, perfect. Then just simply click on review plus create, and then create. Perfect. Validation is passed. We can simply click on go to resource group. Then we can simply say create, because now we will be creating two things. One is Azure Data Factory and second is data lake. Anshlamba, why we need to create data lake? Mr. or Miss or Mrs. So the thing is, obviously we need to store some data and we need to store it somewhere. So that somewhere is your data lake. Okay. Now I hope that you understood. Okay. So first of all, I will simply say data lake. Obviously, I will not see anything. Why? Because we do not have anything related to data lake in Azure. We have something called storage account. Simply click on it and then you will see so many options. Just pick any one. No, just pick Microsoft one, because others are like third-party service providers and we do not like third-party service providers because those are like third class. So storage account, obviously you can just name anything. I will simply say Ansh ADF. Is it available? Is it available? Really? I don't think so, man. Come on. Ansh ADF storage. See? Ansh is not available. Ansh ADF storage. What else I can say? Data. Is it available? Ansh ADF storage data. Yeah, so the thing is, you need to just give a unique name that should be unique throughout the whole Azure network. So here you can simply say Ansh, like you can just put your name. Okay. Then primary service as it is. Redundancy, always pick LRS if you are just practicing, because it will keep your cost low. If you are using free account, then it doesn't matter, but still. Next, then simply click on hierarchical namespace. Why? Because we need to just store hierarchical folders and data lake allows us. Otherwise, it will just create a blob storage. Simply click on review plus create. Then validated row. Fast. So click on create. Perfect. So it will just create our data lake in just few seconds, I guess, and then we can just create our Azure Data Factory finally. And my laptop's battery is almost dead, and where is my charger? I don't know. So see you next week. No, I know where's my charger. Don't worry. Oh man, Lamba is a mess. So yeah, I plugged in. Boom. So our data lake is ready. Now I will simply click on home. I will simply click on resource groups and I will simply search that particular resource group, this one. Then you will see this time I have a storage account. Wow, because I have created this, right? Then I will simply click on create, and then I will simply say Azure Data Factory. Earlier I was thinking just to cover the theoretical question, but then I thought that I should just pass on the knowledge so that you can actually crack the interviews and you can just send me the message, hey Ansh, we finally cracked the interview. That's why. So simply click on Data Factory. That's why I thought that I should include practical questions as well, so that I can just show you how to perform those things, because those things are really, really important. And I need a haircut. Really? Yup. So what will be the name of Data Factory? I'll simply say Ansh ADF. Is it available? Yes. What? Ansh ADF. I think this will be available. Yeah. Ansh ADF. So simple. Then click on review plus create, because I do not need to do much with networking. Simply click on create, and this is done, bro. This is done. You are all set to just start with your interview questions, bro. Woohoo! And what I will do now, I will simply click on go to resource group. Then I will simply click on refresh. What? Yes, now we have Ansh ADF. Now we will simply click on storage account and I will simply click on containers. Okay. Then I will create two containers. Why? I will just tell you. Because one container will be treated as our source, second container will be treated as our destination, so that you can just perform your data movement within these containers. You can actually perform data migration, bro. Simply click on container and I will simply say raw, or let's say source. Okay, and then I will simply create one more destination. Okay, within this destination, within this we will create multiple folders. Don't worry, because in source and destination we will just play with so many questions, so do not worry about that. So first of all, now the question is, Ansh Lamba, where is your data? I don't have any data. Okay, I do have. So I will simply go to my GitHub. Okay, and I will download some files from my GitHub, and I will just manually upload those files here in the source. So you can also download those files from there and you can just simply upload it. Don't worry, I will just cover some scenarios where you will be just directly pulling the data from the APIs. So I will just create one GitHub repository right now. Hold on. So I have uploaded 5 files, and let me just click on upload. And I have these 5 files. Okay, I have these 5 files: products, return, sales, territories. From where can you just get these files? Because I know you also want to upload these files. So you can simply go to my repository, and I will just provide the link in the description. You unlock new achievement with private contribution. Show them off. Show them off. I don't like show off. By including private contributions in your profile, in your settings. Okay, I'll do it later. I'm just kidding. So you can simply go to repositories. Okay, and then you will see ADF interview repository. Simply click on it and then raw data. And within that raw data, you have some files. You can manually download these files by simply clicking on this download, or you can just click on individual file. Then you can just click on download. It's your choice. Okay, so once you have downloaded these files, you can simply upload these files by clicking on upload button. So now, boom, now our environment is ready, and let me just show you our Azure Data Factory. Let me click on Launch Studio, and then it will just take us to Azure Data Factory. And I know that you already know a lot of things in Azure Data Factory. That's why you are preparing for the interview. So I will not give you any overview, blah blah blah, because I have already mentioned about the link which will talk about Azure Data Factory in detail. In that particular video, you can learn everything related to Azure Data Factory. Okay, sorted. So I'll simply go to Author tab, and then you can see pipelines here. So let me just show you this. Your question number one, Mr., Mrs., whoever is giving the interview. So let me just ask you the question number one. Let's just correct. So the question number one is, what are the different types of integration runtimes slash IR, which is a very common abbreviation for that, in ADF, and when should you use each one? So you need to be very accurate with this question and just be straightforward to this question. So the answer is very simple. The answer is, first of all, just tell me, what is integration runtime? Do you know what is integration runtime? I hope so, yeah. So integration runtime, if you know, let me just confirm that. Integration runtime is basically the compute engine that provides computational resources to perform your data movement, your data transformation, your data orchestration, everything. That is the integration runtime. And in Azure Data Factory, we have, let me just write it for you. Just take notes, bro. Please. Sister, just take notes. So integration runtime, we have 3 different types of integration runtimes in Azure Data Factory. The first one is Azure IR. Okay, Azure IR is the most common Azure integration runtime. Don't worry, I will just tell you when should you use which one. The second one is self-hosted integration runtime. The third one is Azure SSIS integration runtime. So now let's talk about which one you should pick in what scenario or in which scenario. So first of all, Azure Integration Runtime, you should pick most of the times, I would say 90% of the times, because Azure Integration Runtime should be used when you are performing data movement, data migration, data transformation, data orchestration within the cloud. Within the cloud. If your source, your destination, both reside in cloud, just pick Azure Integration Runtime. Okay. Then this self-hosted integration runtime is very important. Why? Because as you know, cloud is a new environment, and self-hosted integration runtime is used when you are using on-premise data. On-premise data. It can be your SQL server, it can be your file sitting in your normal file systems, or you can say your drives, hard drives. Self-hosted integration runtime is used to pull data from on-premise. If your source or destination is an on-premise data structure or data storage format, then you have to use self-hosted integration runtime. Then what is this Azure SSIS? This is specifically built to lift and shift your SSIS package, Microsoft SSIS package. This was like a kind of ETL framework or ETL workload that were in use before Azure Data Factory for on-premise databases. If you have SSIS packages, this is used to do the lift and shift for you. I hope you now know everything related to Azure Integration Runtime. Sorted? Now let's see what. So before jumping on the question number 2, let me just show you quickly where we can just see the integration runtime. So simply go to Manage tab and then you will see integration runtimes. See, then you will see this is automatically created. I didn't create this. This came automatically because it is like auto resolve integration runtime, which is also known as Azure Integration Runtime. Then if I just click on plus new, then I will see, wow, Airflow is also there. Wow, nice. Then you will see self-hosted integration runtime or Azure SSIS because the third one is already there, right? Azure Integration Runtime. So if you want to create Azure self-hosted integration runtime, you will pick this one. And now I would like to just add a follow-up question. If you want to create self-hosted integration runtime, then what will be your platform? Because obviously this is self-hosted, right? So now the thing is, if you are creating self-hosted integration runtime, this can be your second question. Okay, so be ready. If you are creating self-hosted integration runtime, then you will either use your local machine, your local laptop, your PC, your Mac, anything. You will use your local machine or you will host a virtual machine because it needs some compute, right? And it needs compute other than Azure. So you will just host 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 a virtual machine or you will use your own computer, own laptop. Okay, sorted. Oh, neither. By the way, they have also included Airflow as well. Okay, use this for running your existing DAGs, obviously, because now Azure is just trying to acquire all the other cloud, not acquire, but yeah, most of the organizations are loving Azure more. So if the organization would use, let's say, AWS, so in that scenario, they would be using Airflow. So now we can just do lift and shift with the help of this particular runtime as well, and this is super cool, super cool. So here is your question number 2. How would you handle schema drift? Wow, how would you handle schema drift in Azure Data Factory when dealing with evolving datasets? What do I mean? Not me, this question. So let's say you were just reading data and this is your dataset and this had a fixed schema, right? Obviously. But then after a few days, you detected that it has now another column as well, which is not available in your destination. What you will do? And this question is related to ADF. So do not give me answers. Hey, we can just use PySpark and we can just use merge schema and the turn on. Bro, shut up. So the thing is, obviously in Azure Data Factory, you would be using data flows to transform your data or to just load the data, right? When you're just performing transformations. So in data flows, you have an option called, let me write it for you, auto mapping. Okay, which will just eliminate any need to like apply the schema on right, and it will just eliminate the need to just map the schema as it is. But if schema is evolving, you have to use this feature which is called schema drift. So when we create the source dataset in mapping data flows, we get two options: validate schema. Just ignore my handwriting, I know it is really good. Validate schema. Okay, boys have like bad handwriting, I don't know why. Girls have good handwriting. So then we have validate schema and we have schema drift. When we click on schema drift, then we are saying, hey, if schema is evolving, it is fine. So let me give you an example. Let's say we have a new column. So what it will do, it will just store that, it will just add that column in the destination and it will just mark this particular column as null for the previous record. It makes sense because it was not there. Simple. So this is your question number 2. So Question number third is really interesting, and this is like pure hands-on. So here interviewer will ask you, how would you load multiple data files from REST APIs using single copy activity. So here interviewer is asking you to just take the control of his or her laptop or computer. Now you are here in his or her ADF, and now you need to perform those steps right now within like 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. And this is your practical, or you can just treat it as round 2 of your interview, where you have to just show if you know the thing or not. Okay, so if you got the concept, it is fine. And here you obviously need to just design the solution on your own. So let me just tell you how you need to approach this question. First of all, these are the files that you need to pull using one like copy activity, just single copy activity without using anything else. Okay, so how you can just do this? So let me just share the design first of all. So simply click on any file first. Okay, then click on raw. So this is your data, okay, that you will be pulling. So this is the URL that you can use. So if you got the hints, it is fine. If not, I will just tell you how you can just do it. So what I will do, I will just create a parameterized data set in which I will create a parameter for this file name, because only this file will be changing every time, and rest of the location will be exactly the same. Makes sense, right? Because all the files are stored in one location. Simple. So I can just keep everything else is same, and I will just simply change this file name. Okay, like the solution, let me just develop it for you. So I will simply click on plus new. Why this is hanging, man? So I will simply create a pipeline API. Okay, simple. So is something wrong with tool or with my internet? I can see it is hanging. So I will simply click on move and transport and drag the copy data activity quickly, because you have less time. Okay, then I will simply pick my source. And within the source I will create my dataset, because I do not have any dataset right now. So I will simply say HTTP connection. Why? Because I want to pull data from REST APIs. By the way, we have two options, REST API and HTTP connection, but Microsoft suggests if you have just data in that particular connection, that just pick HTTP connection. Otherwise you can pick REST API. If you have like some responses or something else, then click on continue. And then what is the format? CSV. Perfect. Link service, do we have link service? No. So first of all, I will create dataset, and I will simply say TS API, and the link service will be new. And here I want to create link service with API connection. Okay, so what is the base URL? Now we need to give the base URL. So base URL, oh, these are my behind the scenes. So base URL is here. So if you just double click on it, you will see base URL here till .com. So this is our base URL. Simply copy it and then just put it here. Okay, then authentication type anonymous. Okay, and then test connection. Then simply click on test connection. Connection is successful. Perfect. Click on create. So our ls is ready. Now it is asking for relative URL, but I will not provide relative URL. I will simply say advanced, open this dataset. Why? Because I want to create a parameterized dataset. Okay, simply click on here parameters, then click on plus new. Then why it is showing like this, man? Then I will simply create parameter called p file name. Okay, then I will keep default value as null. Then I will go to connection. Then I will give add dynamic content. Click on this. Then I will simply copy the URL, whole URL after .com. Okay, and just copy till this backslash, just till here. Okay, just put it here. Then I will say my file name, because I want to use this file name. Okay, and then perfect, add the rate and then curly braces to make a variable out of it. So what it will do, it will keep everything till here is constant, and then it will use the parameter value. Now you will say, hey, what is the parameter value? I have not given the parameter value yet, but I will just provide the parameter value when I'll be running my pipeline. Okay, then simply click on OK. Okay, now this is established. Okay, this is established. Now we can simply click on pipeline API. What is sync? We can simply create a new dataset for sync as well. Simply pick data lake because our destination will be the data lake. Okay, then format obviously CSV. We do not want to change the format, and I will simply say DS parameterized. Yeah, DS parameterized. Okay, and I will simply say CSV. Then link service, we can create new link service, and this will be data lake, ls data lake. Then storage account name, I just want to pick that storage account name on ADF storage data. Yeah, this is the one. Perfect. Now I can just simply test it. Perfect. Click on create. Why it is just blurring the pixels, man? It is irritating. Then we need to just select the file path. So file path, obviously we know it will be destination container. Then for directory and for file name, we can parameterize this as well. So I will simply click on open this dataset because I want to create parameters in this dataset as well, because I want to create a parameterized dataset. And obviously in the interviews, you should also create parameterized dataset. Why? Because it will just put some positive, you can say, it's not like it will just make your profile more catchy, but it will just it will just help you to just show that you know these things. It is a kind of show off, but it is recommended when you are in the interviews. So then in the directory, see why it is just blurring the pixel. I should just refresh, man, but it will not allow me to just publish all. So let me just complete this and I will just refresh it. So then just directly click on parameters, then click on plus new. Then I will simply create P folder, and then I will click on plus new. Oh man, it is irritating me, man. P file, then connection. Okay, then here just choose those parameters, P folder, and then P file. So now you have created a parameterized data set. So now you can see every time it will ask you to provide the folder name and file name. So this way you can just use this parameter in all the other activities as well. You do not need to create new parameters or let's say new data sets. Okay, simple, sorted. So let's perform this. So do you really think you can perform those things? By the way, no, because you need to provide these values. File name here as well, like file name, right? So what you will do, let me just tell you what you will do. So first of all, I will just hard code the value here, P folder, because I will simply say GitHub data, because I want to create a folder called GitHub data. But now this P file and this P file will not get the data automatically. We need to feed this value. And how we will just feed this value? First of all, let me just click on publish all because I want to just refresh. Yeah, I know I have not provided values, but oh man, this will not allow me to do that. Why, man? ADF just add this feature to just save our stuff without giving the parameters value. Let me just give something else, like anything, because I want to refresh my page. It is just irritating me a lot. Okay, let me just click on publish all. Click on publish all basically is used to save your work. It just publishes your artifacts in the DevOps. So do not worry about that for now. We do not have any DevOps linked. So I have just refreshed my screen and it is fine so far. So what we need to do, let me just first remove this. Okay, then sync, just remove this. So now what we will do, we will just create a for each activity so that we can iterate our copy activity again and again for all the files. Okay, so simply click on for each. So if you know how to perform all these stuff, it is good. If you do not, then obviously you can learn. And if you know, just perform on your own. Okay, then in for each, we need to just assign what is the items, what are the items. So items are, we need to create items first of all. So as you know, how many files do we have? If I just see how many files do we have, I think 4 or 2 5 files, I think. Yeah, we have 1 2 3 4 5, we have 5 files. So we need to create a parameter in which we will create multiple entities for these file names. Okay, so let me just copy this name first and let me just go to Azure Data Factory, click on parameters, and I will create a parameter. I will simply say loop value. Okay, then I will simply say array, because this is an array. And within array, I will just define a list. And within that list, I will create a dictionary. I can just zoom it for you if you want. See, then I will simply say name, and name is, I have just copied it. Okay, simple. Similarly, I want to create another dictionary, and I will simply say name, and then I will simply pick the second name. I hope now you know what I'm trying to do. Then I will simply go to name. Okay, then this one, then this closed, then I will say name, then I will just bring another name, which is this one. Okay, so let's say we just want to copy 3 files instead of like all the files. Obviously we can simply just paste that stuff again and again here, but just to save time, I'm just showing you just 3 activities. So this is our parameter. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply go here to ForEach, and then I will assign the items. And what will be the item? This loop value. Simply pick this. Perfect. Then okay. Then I will simply click on this activity and then hit Control X, which is cut. Then go inside this for each and then paste Control V. Now we will assign those values. See, if you just go here, then go to source. Here it is asking me what is the file name. Just tell me what is the file name. The file name is this for each activities name. Just click on this, add dynamic content, then simply pick this item dot name. Why only name? Why? Because name is the key value pair. Like name is the name of the key that we have used in the, I can just show you, bro. Name is the, see, name is the name of the key. You can either put file name, you can either put p name, you can either put f name. So it is up to you, right? Then go inside this. Source is fine. Then sync. Within the sync, we will just create a file called item.name, and then we also want to do one more thing. We will encapsulate this in curly braces. Then we will simply say .csv, because we have .csv as well. Okay, and same thing we need to do in source as well. So in item name, we will encapsulate it. Why we encapsulate it? It is related to f strings in Python, so you know what I'm talking. So when we ever want to use variable within the string, we use f strings, so it is similar to that one. So simply click on OK. Okay, now it is fine to run, and your solution is done. We are just running. It should be a valid array. Oh, we didn't close the array. I think we didn't close the array. Okay, no worries. Yeah, we didn't close the array. Now it is fine. Okay, perfect. So this is your solution. I'm just running it for you. By the way, it is fine. It is absolutely fine. So this way you can just dynamically call the data. You can dynamically read the data. You can dynamically load the data from REST API using only one copy activity. Okay. So this was your question number 3. And I know these kinds of labs are really, really handy, and you should know, you should be perfect. You should be a pro in these kinds of scenarios, because they can ask you, hey, just take our control and just build this. So by the way, this ran successfully. So now we can just jump on our next question. Oh, yes, let's see that. What's that? So we have our next question. How would you design a fault tolerant ADF pipeline to process billions of records daily? How would you do that? So basically, there are like some scenarios where you can just have failures in pipelines. So in that particular scenario, you should have a perfect solution, perfect design in such a way that you should be notified, or there should be some policy. So I will just tell you what can be the possible answers, and you need to merge all of them. You cannot say, hey, I will just say one thing. No. So first of all, if there are like billions of records on a daily basis that we need to process, first of all, we can apply retry policy. Okay. And I will show you how you can just apply retry policy in the activities. Second thing, what you can do, you can leverage parallelism in the mapping data flow, from where you can just divide your data into small partitions, which will just enhance the speed of data processing. And the third thing is failure notification. Now this is the good thing, how we can just enable failure notification. So the thing is, let's say we are using copy activity. Okay, so we are like multiple nodes. So let's say these are like nodes. So we can pick failure node and we can apply another activity after this, which will just send us the email, so that email will say, hey, your pipeline just failed. So just check and just see what's bad in that and what is the issue. So this is the thing, you can just enable failure notification as well. And what are the different types of ways from where we can just enable notification failures? First thing is logic apps, obviously, but it is a little bit tricky because we need to first go to the logic apps and then we need to create the logic, and then we just need to copy the URL, and then we just need to, like, that is an API. So then we will be just performing API call using post method using web activity. Instead of doing all those things, we can simply go to monitor tab, and from there we can just enable the failure notification. So I can just show you. So let's say this is a copy activity. Let me just go inside this. Okay, so if you just see here in the general, you will have retry policy. So you can just say, hey, retry at least like 10 times. Oops. You can simply say, hey, retry at least 10 times. Let's say this is your condition. Okay, so this is one thing that you can do, definitely. Then what you can do, simply go to manage, and then maybe, sorry, monitor, then alerts and metrics. So this is the area where you can just use, because logic apps will allow you to just uh, call APIs using post method, and we can do so much of stuff other than just using email notifications. So if you just want to notify yourself regarding pipeline failures, you can simply go to alerts and metrics, and here you can simply pick new alert rule, and then you can just simply name it, and then target criteria, and then severity. It's up to you. Severity 0, severity 1. You can simply pick it, and then add criteria. You can simply pick pipeline failure, I think. Yeah, you can say failed activity run matrix, and then you can simply pick OK, and then you can say activity type. Maybe it's for each or copy. Let's say for each, because if copy activity is failing, then obviously for each activity will automatically be failed because it's an inner activity, right? Then activity name, in our case it is like for each copy one. Okay, then pipeline name, it's like pipeline API. Failure type, user error, system error, bad gateway. I would say any error, because we want the notification of any kind of error. Select all, simple. Condition, greater than or equal to, greater than or less than equal to. Time aggregation is total, average, min, max. Basically it is just asking us like how long it took to just actually throw the error. Threshold count, you can simply click on like 0, 1. I would say 1. Then event based on period over the last 1 minute, because it will be just checking every minute so that your status is updated. Frequency 1 minute, and you can just enhance it as well. Do not need to worry. So threshold count is basically, you can say if it is greater than 1. So 1 time is fine if pipeline is failing 1 time, because we have just applied retry policy. So we're just giving the chance. Okay, if it is failed due to any networking issue, it is fine. But if it is really critical, oops, I just clicked on escape by mistake. So if it is really critical, okay, let's say copy activity, where was that? Failed activity run matrix. Yeah. So let's say it is really critical. Then you can simply say greater than or equal to, then equals to 1. Simple. Or you can say greater than 0. Simple, simple. Then you can simply say add criteria, and when you will just say add criteria, let me just click on all the boxes. Yeah, perfect. Then you can simply say add criteria, then you will say configure notification, and when you will click on this, you will simply say group name and short name, and in group name you can simply create a group as well in the enter ID, and you can just put your group and then add notification. Then you will simply say action name is this one, you can name it anything, and then email and SMS. So you can just put your phone number, your email ID, that's it, and then you can just simply click on OK. So this is the kind of rule that we can create in Azure Data Factory, because earlier we used to create logic apps just to send the notification using post API, but it is not required. We can simply create alert rule. Okay, simple, sorted. So this is the new question, and it says your ADF pipeline is running slow. Okay, how would you identify and fix the performance bottlenecks? By the way, this question doesn't have any proper answer, because you need to be very diplomat while answering this question, and it will just check your, you can say, professionalism as well. how you need to tackle it, because you simply need to say, hey, being a data engineer as well, you are not a magician who would know like if pipeline is running slow, okay, this would happen. No, you should just say, being a data engineer, I will first look into the pipeline, how things are moving, which activity is actually causing the issue. So I will go and look into the pipeline. But yes, you can say like this, I can assure that if my pipeline is taking long while running the data flows, I can try to prune the data as much as I can in the initial stages, because that is something that you should always do, that you should just prune your data as much as you can in the initial stages instead of just pruning your data at the later stages. So this is something that you can say, but otherwise you should just say and be professional while just answering this question. Just say, I will just go and look into the pipeline and I will see what can be the major causes. Yes, this can be one cause regarding data flow. Second cause, you can say either it can be related to copy activity, like pulling data from on-prem to Azure, and it can be related to, let's say, self-hosted integration runtime. Maybe virtual machine is throttling and is using almost all the computation it has. So they can be like multiple options, multiple scenarios, multiple answers. But yes, the best answer is you should say, I will first of all monitor the pipeline. I will just find the root cause, and these can be the potential root cause that I have in my mind before checking the pipeline. This is the best answer. Okay. Do not say, hey, I will just go to the VM and I will just upgrade the resources. No, you do not know the actual root cause, right? You need to be diplomat in these type of questions. Okay, simple. The next question is, how would you implement incremental data load in Azure Data Factory when working with large transactional databases, or let's say just large databases, either it's like transactional or non-transactional, any kind of databases? Incremental loading is the is that thing that you have to do every time. Yes, you cannot load all the data every time because they can have like billions, not like billions, like hundreds of billions of records, bro. So how you should do incremental loading? This is the bread and butter of every data engineer. In ADF, you have basically two major approaches. I will just tell you, and you should just answer it like being a pro developer. And being a pro developer, you should just know both the scenarios, both the approaches, and you should cover both the approaches in your answers as well. Okay, do not cover only one. Okay, so the first thing is, we call it as watermark tables approach, or let's say watermark tables. The second thing is CDC. Okay, what are these? First of all, watermark tables. In watermark tables, you can say like this, hey, I can use watermark tables in which I will just store the CDC timestamp in that particular table, and I can use that table in every run so that it will just pull the data after that particular date. It is the standard incremental loading approach which we follow throughout any platform, throughout any application, throughout any cloud platform. Okay. Okay, simple. Now, what is a CDC? So, by the way, Azure Data Factory has a feature called Change Data Capture, in which we do not need to take care of watermark tables. We can directly set up the CDC with the on-prem SQL server. This is generally available with SQL Server because in most of the scenarios, you'll be just loading data from SQL Server. So, if interviewer asks you that you need to just incrementally load the data from SQL Server and you do not need to use watermark tables, then CDC is your approach. I will just show you where it is that where is that feature. So you can use CDC, which is change data capture, which will automatically track the changes and it will load those changes into your destination table. Okay, let me just show you where it is. Author tab, pipelines, pipeline one. Just ignore that because I was just playing with this. So you can simply see change data capture. It is in preview. Do not worry, but it works. So you can just configure this thing and you can just create CDC, new CDC preview. So in this, when you will be creating a new CDC, first of all, you need to just configure your database, your on-prem SQL Server database. Then only you can just create your new CDC. Okay, so this will automatically just track the changes for you. This is your answer. Okay, sorted. So This question says you have a JSON file, okay, with an unknown structure. Okay, how would you process it in ADF? So obviously in JSON, we know that we will get the values in the form of dictionaries, in the form of key value pairs. We can have nested dictionaries, but it is not fixed. How we can just process it in ADF? So the best answer is, let's say we have automated data flow. Okay, then what we can do, we can simply use schema drift that we just discussed in the previous question as well. Schema drift, because when we have schema drift, it will not worry about any new column, any new key, any new key value pair. But if you have to use those columns, if you have to let's say include those columns in your solution, right, then what you can do, you can simply go to your data flows. Let me just write it for you. Data flows, and turn on the debug mode. Okay, so what debug mode does, debug mode will turn on the cluster, will spin up the clusters for you, and you can actually preview your data in the real time. You can turn on the debug mode and you can use a transformation called flatten, and then you can just make your JSON file and you can just apply flatten transformation, and it will just give you the columns which are embedded within that JSON file. So you can simply use debug mode, flatten transformation, and it should just work well. And by the way, it will be really, really easy when you will be actually seeing those columns in front of your eyes. So yeah, it's good. That's all. Sorted. So this question is interesting. How would you implement a real-time streaming pipeline in Azure Data Factory using Azure Data Factory only? This is the trickiest part, because there are so many ways that we can build real-time streaming pipeline. You can use Databricks notebooks, you can use logic apps, you can do so much of stuff, right? But it is asking you that you have to use ADF only, or let's say ADF resources only. Like everything which is available inside ADF, you have to use that and build a real-time streaming pipeline. And what can be the scenario? Scenario can be anything. I can just give you one example so that you can relate if you get the scenario instead of this question, or this question instead of that scenario. So I'm just making you like, oh, I want you to be prepared for any question. Okay, so let's say the scenario is you have a data lake. Okay, and there's a manager or like interviewer who is saying that I will load the data in this container. Let's say this is a file, and this should automatically run as soon as file arrives, and it should just trigger your whatever copy activity or any activity, and it should just run continuously. This is your real-time streaming pipeline in ADF. Okay, how you can do that? How? Now you will say, hey, we can simply run the pipeline and we can schedule it. We can use schedule trigger, and we can just set the trigger value as 1 minute or like let's say 1 second, and it will be running every time. No, you cannot use resources, and you should not run that pipeline again and again. You have to run the pipeline as soon as your file arrives in the data lake. So for that, you have to use something called as event based trigger, or it is also known as events grid, events trigger. So basically event based trigger, what it will do, you will create your pipeline. Okay, you will create a copy activity, for each activity, so many other blah blah activities. Okay, once you create those activities, then what you will do, you will just initiate, or let's say you will create a trigger which is called as event based trigger. What it will do, it will automatically trigger the pipeline based on the arrival of this file, automatically. Now here's a catchy thing. Interviewer will say, hey, you have this Azure account, just turn it on for me. And then you will say, hey, why I'm not able to do that? Because earlier we were easily able to just add that particular trigger, but now we first need to go to the subscriptions, then we need to register for event grid services, then only we can enable this trigger, because it doesn't come by default now. It used to come, but now it does not. It does not. So we have to register for those services first, then only we can just use event based triggers. Okay, so you should know this thing as well. This is something related to admin stuff, but you should know about it. Okay, so event based trigger is your best way to create your real time pipeline, and it will automatically trigger the pipeline as soon as the file arrives in the data lake. Sorted, sorted. Let's see our next question. So the next question is, how would you load data to different location based on the file name? Did you get the question? So the question says, let's say you have multiple files. Let's say file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5. Okay. Now you need to load this data to different locations. Let's say location 1 for file 1, location 2 for file 2 and file 3, location 3 for file 4 and file 5. So you need to just move the data based on the file names. Based on the file names. How will you do that? How will you do that? How will you do that? So for this, I will just take you to my data factory page and we will just create a new pipeline. By the way, let me just delete it. Yeah, let me just create a new pipeline. So for this, we will create the pipeline, obviously, but for the first thing, you should just get the solution first. Like you should have the solution in your mind, the design, the architecture. So what we will do, we will simply go to the data lake. Okay. Then we will just read how many files do we have to fetch the file names. And for that, we can use simply the get metadata activity. Just click here and just search get metadata. So within that get metadata, I will get all the file names existed in that particular folder. And based on that, I will use switch activity. Okay. When I will get the switch activity, it will just iterate through each file name. It is not similar to ForEach, don't worry. Switch activity is related to your switch function that we get, or let's say case when statement that we get in SQL, or let's say switch activities or switch function in Python, or let's say any programming language. So what it will do, we will simply click on this and then we will define activities. So this is the expression where we will just pass the file names. This is the cases. We will add case 1. And in case 1, we will perform copy activity. In case 2, we will perform copy activity. Case 3 will perform the copy activity. Simple. Got it? Got it. Let me just show you what do I mean. And let's do it quickly. So I will simply go to my get metadata activity. And then I will simply go to settings because I need to provide the dataset. And I can simply pick DS parameterized CSV. That is the power of using parameterized dataset because I do not need to create a new one. Okay. Folder. What is the folder name? So I can simply say what is my folder name? Do you remember? Do you remember? Let me just check. By the way, this is nothing but your group that we have just created for our email notifications. So it basically creates the group to send the whatever you want to say notification. So it creates the group in our resource group. So I will simply delete it. Not now, I will just delete it later. And this is the alert that we created, right? So this is all that stuff. I will simply open my data lake. And this is my source. And within source, we have directly the files. So what I will do, I will create a directory and I will simply say uh, trigger data because I want to pick data files within this. Okay. And let me just add some files here and I will just, don't worry, I will just simply pick the files from my GitHub repository. I will just simply pick 3 files randomly. So I will go inside my folder. I will simply click on upload. So I have uploaded 3 files. 2 are related to sales and 1 is for products. And I will just tell you what is the scenario now. So what I want 2 destinations. One is for sales folder. Okay. One is for product folder. Simple. So what I want to do, if my file name contains a word called sales, then just copy my data to the sales folder. If my data contains the words such as called products, then I want to copy my data to the products table. Simple. Let's do it. So I will simply go to this and I will simply say trigger data, which is my folder name. Okay. And file names should be all the file names. Okay, so in this particular scenario, I can simply pick either all the file names or I can simply give location till folder name. Let me click on this new and then child items. Perfect. Yes, perfect. But I think it will not allow me to do it. You know the reason? Because I cannot leave this empty. So let's see if it doesn't allow me. I will just create a new parameter because I do not want to go till file level. I have to go till folder level, because if you are aware of get metadata activity, and if we want to just fetch the file names, we cannot afford to go till file name level. Okay, simple. So I have just picked child items here so that I can just get the file names. Okay, and I will just disable it for now, or let's say deactivate. Let me just click on debug. It will say, hey, you have not provided the file name. Bro, I do not want. So I think Azure should add a feature where we can just say if we want to provide the value to parameter or not. It should not be like we have to every time provide the value. Azure, do some changes, man. Do some changes. So what I will do for now, I can simply create a new one, and I can simply say ds trigger, or let's say ds parameterize till folder level. This will be good. Yeah, and same link service, and this is source, and for this I will simply create parameter for it. So directory parameters, new folder, and just attach it here. Simple. Perfect. See, now this parameterized dataset is just on till only the folder level. So I will just use this if I want to use till folder level. So I will simply say trigger data. Perfect. Child items. Perfect. So now I will just simply run this to just show you what it will return, so that you can understand what we are going to do. So we will simply use the output of this get metadata activity, and we will just attach this with this one. Simple. And we will attach it on success. And meanwhile it is running, I can simply do some work. Switch activity. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now if you just see the output, it will give something like this: child items, and then this is first entity, then this is second entity, this is third entity. So it will give me all the file names, right? Okay, perfect. So what we can do now, we will simply attach this with this switch activity. I will make it activated. Okay, then in the activities I will use expression, then dynamic content, then get metadata data activity dot child items. Perfect. Then within this, now we have case statements. So I will just add one case. This is my case one. Now what I will do, I have to use the exact file name, or let's say the exact result of this one. Exact result. So what do I mean? So let's say in the switch activity, I am getting this expression, and first of all, this will be having all the child items, like everything. Okay. So what we will do, we will simply store this switch activity into a loop so that it can just pass on the values one by one, because we need to compare all the values. If you can see, so this will only work if we just have one activity, or let's say one file. But if we have like multiple files, we have to run the loop. So I will simply click on for each activity. Simple. And then within this for each activity, let me first remove this. Okay, I will simply connect this based on the same thing, the output of this child items. Okay, simple, perfect. Now I will simply click on Control X. I will go inside this. I will paste this here. Now I want to give the expression. Expression will be item dot name, because I want to compare the name. Okay, simple. Now here I want to create the cases. Here the thing is, you have to pick something that should exactly match with this. Only then it will perform this particular activity. That is obviously pencil right now, but I will just add the copy activity. Then only it will create, what's that? Then only it will just perform anything. So let's say my first case is, what was my first case? My first case was trigger data and products. So this is my first case. So if this is the name, then perform copy activity, and we can simply click on pencil to add the activity. Where is the activity, man? And let's say add one case, then I can just add it. So case 2 will be by default. Now it's my choice. Either I want to add one more case, or I can smartly use default case, because if this is default case, simply create the copy activity and push the data to the sales folder. Simple, sorted. So let me just create that particular activity for you. So you can simply click on this edit button as well, and then you can drag the copy data activity here. And what will be your source? Your source will be parameterized CSV. Folder will be your trigger data. And what will be the file name now? What will be the file name? File name will be your value coming from loop. So simply go here and perform @item. If it is available here, then fine. Otherwise, you can simply say @item. Oops. Item dot name. Simple. Simply click on item dot name. Perfect. Then go to sync. Pick this param folder, and then you will create a new folder, and this time you will simply say products data. Simple. Perfect. Then go to ForEach. Then go to AdventureWorks products. Then here just bring the copy data activity. Oops. Copy data activity. And then click on pencil button. Then pick source. Same thing. Here trigger data. Bro, these are real-time scenarios. So obviously they are complex. You cannot imagine simple scenarios. That's why I'm just performing each and every step for you, so that you can learn. You can confidently answer those questions. Okay, so simply click on @item. Oh man, why it is not working fine? Okay, no worries, I can simply write it here. @item dot. Oh man, this is not working. Incognito mode is not working today. I will just click on publish all and refresh. I want to refresh my sheet, man. Let me just publish all and refresh it. I don't know why I've opened my Azure Data Factory in incognito mode. It is irritating me today. It is genuinely irritating me. See? See the refresh rate? It's so messy. So let me just refresh it once it is. Oh, I have refreshed the pipe, refreshed the sheet, refreshed the web page, and let me just show you again what I have done. I literally didn't change anything. So let me just click on this. Within this for each activity, you have switch activity, and within the switch activity, you have two copy activities. Simple. And if I just click on the first copy activity, it is taking source, trigger data item.name, and sync is sales. For the second case, it is taking this one, sync is product, source is same. Okay, and you know the cases. Case 1 is default, case 2 is this one, this particular one. Okay, simple, simple, simple. And let me just remind you, you have to use the exact same thing. What you can do, if you want to make any changes, you can change it here, because it is an expression box. If you can just say replace or extract or something like that, but I'm just using the exact name. So if I just run this, it should run fine. So let me just click on debug field list, and it cannot be empty. Oops, so I can just simply click on it. So I just refreshed it, so maybe that is lost. So I can simply pick child items. Perfect. Switch activity cannot be empty. Pipeline name should only contain letters. I see this error. So the thing is, I have figured out what was the issue. So it is saying the name that you are using in your switch activity cannot be used with .csv. So I have removed .csv. Now you will say, hey, now how we can just use this .csv? Like we have to use the file name, but how we can just use this without .csv? So as I was just telling you, we can just use functions within this expression box. That's why we have expression box here. If we want to just make any tweaks in the input, we can. So what I have done, I have just removed the .csv with nothing, with like double quotes. That's it. So it will just remove the .csv, and then it should just match exactly with this one. So it can be your next scenario, but I have just merged this with this one. so that you can just end to end understand it. So now I can simply click on validate and it is fine. Now it should just run fine and it should just fulfill your scenario. Simple, simple. So I have tested the pipeline. This ran successfully. So this question actually combines your two questions but are interlinked, and I had to cover both the parts of this question, and it is really, really important. And these are like practical questions but quick ones. How would you store all the file names in a variable? Okay, this is something similar to the previous question that we had, but yeah, not exactly the same. And how can we just get the number of files stored in the folder? So these are really, 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 really important questions, because the thing is, now you would say, Ansh, cannot we apply get metadata activity and we can get the number of files? The answer is no. We cannot get the number of files. No, we cannot. We can only get the information about the child items, but we cannot get the number of files stored in that particular folder. This feature is not available so far. Plus, if we just want to store the file names, that's it. As you know that we have like so many information like name and then format and then size. No, we have to create the parameter, let's say variable, and we have to store all the information in that particular variable. So these are basically two questions combined in one, so that you can just cover both the paths. Okay, let me just show you how you can do that. So basically we will simply go to this pipeline, and obviously this is of no use, so I can simply delete this activity. Now we know that this is our get metadata activity, which is actually pulling the information about the child items. Okay, so I will simply click on variables and I will create one variable which is called file names. Okay, and then I will create another folder, like another variable, and I will call it as file size. Not file size, or let's say number of files. Number of files. Simple. And now this should be equal to integer, obviously, and this should be of array type. Okay, I will tell you why. So this is our get metadata activity. Now I know that in this particular folder I have 3 files. I know this. But let's say we want to just figure out how many files do we have in this folder. Let's say tomorrow we will be having 10 more files, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay. And our pipeline is depending on that particular activity. So how we can just do that? So I will simply go to for each activity and I will simply drag it here. Then I will just connect that activity with this one. So what I will do, I will assign this activity. Oh man, why? Oh man, this is irritating me, man. Like, I don't know why this is happening. Like, pixels are just messing up. Maybe this is UI of Azure. I'm so sure. I'm so sure. See, it is just like, should I just raise the ticket? Oh man. Okay, so I can simply click on for each, and then I can simply click on items, and then I will click on add dynamic content, and then I will simply assign metadata dot child items. Okay, so once this for each activity has child items, then what I will do, I will go inside this. Okay, and I will assign it activity called set variable. Perfect, 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 perfect. Oh man, see, pixels. See, so now what we will be doing, I will just fill this activity. I will just fill this activity, or let's say I will assign this activity a variable of array type, and we know what is that, file names. Okay, and what will be the value? So every time this loop will be running, this will return me the item, and we just want the item name. So what I will do, I will store this activity, I will just store the value of this variable into this one. So I will simply go to add dynamic content for each dot name. Sorted. Perfect. Okay, okay. So what it will do, it will just hold the value. It will just hold the value, but it will not do anything. Do you really think it will just solve the problem? What do you think? No. Why? Because this activity is called set variable. It will just set the variable. So in the second loop, it will just eliminate the value that it stored. Yes. Yes. So instead of using set variable, we'll be using append variable. Append variable. This will just add on the values. This will add on the values. Simple, sorted. Okay. So this will just add on the values. So I will simply say file names. See, it is also saying that append variables only supports adding to array type variable. That makes sense. Then I will say item dot name. So what it will do, every time this loop will be running, every time, this will just store that particular name into the array every time. Okay, sorted, 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 sorted. So now, what is the next thing that I want to do? What is the next thing? Okay, so the next thing is I will come outside the loop and then I will just assign a activity called set variable. Why? Let me just tell you. So now once let's say my loop is done, okay, my loop is completed, and let's say my loop ran for 3 times, okay. Now after running it for 3 times, how many values the set variable or let's say append variable activity will be holding? It's 3, right? Then I will say set this variable, and now I want to find the length of that particular variable. So I will simply say settings, number of files, and what will be the value? The value will be length function. And you can simply go to functions and you can simply say collection functions. If it has like contains first last, I want length function. Length of what? Length of, oops, so I want a length function. Okay, it will just give me the length of array. And what is the array in our case? It is variable. It is variable. Which variable? File names. Perfect. This is your activity that you need to run. Simply click on validate. No errors. Simply click on debug. And now we should just see that there are 3 files and the size is 3. So these are like two questions that are combined in one. And this should just solve the problem. And I don't know what's wrong with this UI, man. Why you are doing this to me today? Why? So it ran successfully. So now I will just show you the output. So as I know that it ran 3 times, but that's not it. I want to see the output of the third of the last one. Let me just see. Okay, this is the last value it added. Okay, and what is the size of it? Oh man, what are you doing? Set variable. See, number of value is 3. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now the thing is, it will not hold any value because it gets terminated after the pipeline is completed. Okay, so you can only use the values till the time it is running, till the time it is running. If you want to store the value of all the files, what you can do, you can attach one more variable, and it is like very rare scenario where you will be using those file names in your select statement, in your script statement, or let's say script activity. So what you can do, simply go on variables, click another variable and simply say file names quoted, and just keep it as string because we will just grab the string. And what we can do, we can simply apply one more string activity like set variable activity here. Simply do it like this, and this time we will store file names quoted. And what will be the value of this? The value of this will be number of file names. Oops, file names. Click on OK. Perfect. Now let me just debug it. Now you can actually see all those 3 files because I know we cannot store the value. So this is another workaround for that. And I hope this should work fine. And I don't know what's wrong with this today. See. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Oh, one failed. Why? A file name's quoted of type string cannot initialize or retrieve the value of type. Oh, okay. So what you can do? So this ran actually fine. What you can do, because this is of type array. So what you can do, you can just add string, and this will just change to string, or let's say to string, or you can simply say conversion function string. See, you can simply add string and it will just convert this into string. Simple, no worries. Now it should just run fine. Now it should just run fine. See, what is happening, man? What is happening with you today? I thought it was because of incognito mode, right? But I don't think so. It was because of incognito mode. It is something wrong with their UI. See, see. Now it ran successfully. Let me just show you the output this time. So this is your output. This is your output. This time you can actually see the quoted values, but it is obviously in the string format. But this is very handy when you need to use this output in your, let's say, script activity or anything else. I have personally used these kinds of outputs in my script activity, so I thought of just sharing it with you as well. And obviously, who knows, like someone can ask you this question as well, like how you can actually store the value. Okay, okay. Simple. By the way, that is the thing that you have to apply when you actually need to see the values. But in reality, if you want to just use the values stored in the array, you can definitely use this activity, bro. This one, append variable. This is actually holding your values. See, this is your third value. It is holding. And this is the second, this is the first value. This is the second value. So you can obviously use this as well. Okay, so let's see our next question.
So we have our next question. You need to save the logs of the pipeline. How would you do that? Logs, these are really important, because obviously whenever you are having pipeline failures or anything, you have to refer the logs, and logs are really helpful. So how we can just perform the logging on top of pipelines? Just to give you the hint, we usually perform logging on top of copy activity, because that is the only activity that is required to perform data migration, and this is the activity that we most of the times use. So this is the only activity. Okay, so what are the ways by which we can perform logging? So basically there are majorly three ways. Okay, three ways. The oldest one is watermarking. Okay, watermarking slash stored procedure. So when we used to work with the traditional tables, the real tables, at that time we used to create tables, or let's say we used to create stored procedures, and in those stored procedures we used to pass the parameters, and in those parameters we used to feed the dynamic content every time whenever we used to run the pipelines. But with the rise of lakehouse, we do not work much with the traditional tables, we work with the files. So what is the latest approach that we follow? So the latest approach is empty files with additional columns. Okay, what is that? I know this is a new concept. So the thing is, we create empty files. It can be empty JSON, it can be empty CSV, any kind of empty text file, in which we can just save the additional columns as well, because in copy activity we get the you can say a feature, or let's say we get the opportunity to just actually store the additional columns, and in these additional columns we can just store the dynamic content. Okay, sorted. And what is the third way? The third way of doing it is very simple, and it is very straightforward. It is just using the copy activity itself, because in the copy activity as well we get the opportunity to save the logs to a desired folder, and obviously we do not have much flexibility to perform a lot of stuff on top of it. Copy activity will automatically store the logs for us, but yeah, or like the generic information, that's it. But yeah, this feature is available in copy activity in copy activity itself. So I'll just show you all the options. So if I just go here, and if you just see, let me just open any copy activity, and we know that we have copy activity inside this. Yeah, so this is my copy activity. Let me just share you the third option, which is like copy activity. Simply click on it, then go to settings, and obviously this is just saying you will be charged number of views, DIUs, copy duration $0.25 per hour. So it charges you $0.25 every hour. Copy duration, let's say your copy activity took 1 hour, so it will just charge you $0.25. And if your activity is taking just 5 to 10 minutes, so it will be just like 0. 0.02, I guess. Yeah, 0.02 or 0.05. Yeah. So in this, you can see an option called enable logging. So when you just click on this, you will just pick your link service, and then you just need to define your folder path. When you do this, your all the logs will get automatically stored in this particular location. Sorted. Now, what is the other way of doing it? Let me show you what is the other way of doing it. First of all, we will bring another copy activity here, and then I will just name it as logs. Okay, then I will just connect it. Perfect. Then in this, I will pick a source which will be an empty JSON folder, or let's say empty JSON, not folder, empty JSON file. Okay, so let me just go to my source, and I have an empty JSON file. Don't worry, this is also uploaded on GitHub repository. Just download it from there. So when I just select the source, obviously I do not have any JSON dataset, so I will quickly create one with JSON file format. Okay, I will simply say ds.json. Data lake will be same, then source, then pick that file. Perfect. By the way, this is an empty file. We have nothing inside this file. So now the thing is, now the thing is, now the thing is, when we store this, okay, when we store this, when we use this copy activity, we get something called as additional columns. Simply click on it, new, and when I want to save any value, let's say any value, let's say I want to save my pipeline ID, I can simply create a column, bro. I can simply create a column called pipeline ID, and instead of giving file path, I can simply pick dynamic column, or let's say dynamic content. Then I will go to system variables, and then I will simply pick pipeline group ID or pipeline run ID. It's up to me. Simply use this. Then I will use another column, and this time I will simply say pipeline name. Then again, custom, not custom, dynamic content, because custom will give you the constant. Okay, then I can simply say pipeline name. Simple. So similarly, you can just store all the information as you want. Okay, then in the sync, obviously you can pick any location, let's say folder, and then you can just put any location. Then the thing is, whenever this pipeline will be running, logs will be stored in this particular location with this file, and all this information will be there, like this one, all these two columns. So this is very handy when you want to save the logs of the file, and this is the approach that we follow now. And the third one, which is the oldest one, we used to create one stored procedure activity, this one, in which we used to just call our stored procedure created in our database, and it used to just feed those parameters using dynamic content. Simple, sorted. Yes. Let's see another question. So the next question is, how would you secure sensitive connection strings and credentials in ADF? This is a very easy question, and you should definitely know. The answer is Key Vault. We can use Key Vault. Key Vaults are used to store the secrets, and it is very handy when we do not want to show the credentials and we just want to use it in a secure way. The second thing is, it is very important, I guess, and nowadays it is really important because we just Microsoft as well recommends us to use that. So let's say if I am using ADF, okay, and I have, let's say, either an external data lake, or let's say Synapse, or any other resource, or let's say even Azure Key Vault. I want to assign this ADF a role. I want to assign ADF a role so that it can just use Synapse workspace or anything else. How we can just do that? So the answer is, we should always use managed identities. Okay, we should always use managed identities. Why? Why? Because managed identities are by default identities that Azure creates for us, and it is with the same exact same name that you use to create your resources. So let's say you are creating Azure Data Factory. So in the background, Azure has created a managed identity with the same name for you. So whenever you will be just allowing the resource to access the data, you are actually asking Azure to use managed identity to allow it. So managed identity is really easy, and it is really secured than any other method. Okay, so just remember this thing. So the next question is, you need to copy millions of records from an on-prem SQL server to Azure Data Lake daily. How would you optimize the copy activity to reduce execution time? So basically, this is the main question. How would you optimize the copy activity to reduce execution runtime, like reduce execution time? And obviously, when SQL Server is involved in that particular activity. So the thing is, you can either use staging, like you can enable staging in your copy activity, or you can simply use bulk insert option that you get only when you are using SQL Server. So in both the cases, your copy activity will be optimized and it will be running efficiently to perform loading of millions of data. So if you are just using SQL Server in the copy activity, then obviously you will just see this option bulk insert, and obviously enable staging is always there. You can just enable staging, which is an intermediary step when you are just loading the data. Simple, sorted. So this is the question that will just test your integration knowledge with other applications as well. So how would you integrate Databricks, which is your Azure Databricks, with Azure Data Factory? Question number one, or let's say first part of the question. And the second part is also, it sometimes fails due to the transient issues. How would you handle this? So the thing is, let's say you have written your notebook, or let's say anything, your code in the Databricks. Okay, this is in Databricks. This is a different entity. Now you are using Azure Data Factory for everything, and now you need to integrate this with Azure Data Factory. Okay, how you can just do this? So basically, let me just show you in the Data Factory itself. So let's create a new pipeline. Don't worry, I'm not creating a new Databricks workspace. So what we can do, we have something called notebook activity in this. I will simply say notebook. Then you will simply see Databricks notebooks and Synapse notebook. So for now, we will be picking Databricks notebook and we will just drag it here. And then it will just ask us to create a link service with Databricks. When we simply say create new, it will just ask us to just provide all the information related to Databricks workspace. Once everything is given, then it will just ask us to provide the access tokens as well. Just for your kind information, access tokens are also available in Databricks settings, not in Azure Data Factory or in Azure Workspace. Everything is available in Databricks end. Okay, we can go there, we can just grab the information, and then we can just provide the information here. Once everything is here, then we can simply run this notebook. Okay, this is the way how we integrate Databricks with Azure Data Factory. Then the second part of the question is, if it fails due to like transient issues, or like any random issue. So the answer is very simple. You can simply apply the retry policy, or let's say, and even after applying the retry policy, you can simply create another activity after this, which is the fail node, to send the notification to yourself or to the stakeholders. Or you can just set the alerts that the same way that we just set for the previous questions, by just going to the monitor tab and then just create, or let's say going to the monitor tab, this one, and then just create a new alert rule, and then obviously you will be notified. So this is the way that you can just answer this question in your interviews. Got it? Very good. So the next question is, you need to move data from a REST API that paginates responses. Okay, how would you handle this in ADF? So as we have already dynamically moved data using HTTP connection, and now it's time to just actually work with the REST APIs, where we can actually get the responses which are stored in pages, or let's say paginated responses. So for that, we have a different data set option available. It's called REST API, same way that we have for HTTP connection. So when we just go to this REST API connection mode, then we have something called as paginated, or you can also configure absolute URL for this. So once you do that, it will read subsequent pages dynamically. So this is the feature. I can also show you the activity. When you just go here, then you can simply click on any pipeline activity, or let's say any source. For now, I can simply click on plus new. I'm not creating a new source, I'm just showing you. Simply search REST API. Let's go to copy activity, because obviously you cannot get the metadata of that particular activity. So simply click on source, click on plus new, and then you can simply say REST API. See, this is the connection that you can create for your source, and in this you will get the option to configure the absolute URL, which will help you to dynamically read the subsequent pages. That will help you to get the paginated responses. Sorted. Sorted. So we have a new question, and it says, how would you delete only those files which are older than 10 days? So let's say in your folder you have like so many files, 1 2 3 4 5 6, so many, and you need to just delete only those files which are older than 10 days, and rest of the files should be there, and you need to just perform this activity recursively. How you can just do that? How? So what we can do, I'll just show you. Let me just create a new activity. Okay, so this time I will simply create get metadata activity, this one. Okay, and in this get metadata activity, so I will simply pick folder, and folder is, let's say, trigger data. Okay, and container is obviously source. This will give me all the things related to the folder level, and here I can just pick field list, and field list I have options such as child items, exist, item name, item type, last modified, everything, right? So I will simply pick last modified, and if I just pick last modified, I will just simply get the last modified date of the folder, not of the file. So I will simply pick child items. I will simply run this, so I can just show you what I will get, what I will get. So I will just tell you the whole architecture. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let me just show you what it will return. By the way, there are like 2 to 3 approaches, not 2 to 3, like there can be so many, because obviously this can be a unique solution. So when we just run this get metadata activity, so it will just give me the file name and the file type. That's it. It will not give me any information regarding the last modified date. See, there's no information available of that. And if I just pick, now you will say, hey, you can simply pick last modified. Why can't you pick last modified? Because if I just pick last modified, it will just give me the last modified date of the folder, not of the file. So what I will do simply, I first need to just run this get metadata activity to run over all the files available. Okay, simple, to run over all the files available. Then I will simply run for each activity along with that. Okay, I will simply join it, and in the settings I will simply say child items. Okay, child items. Oops, child items. Perfect. Now I need to just go inside this, click on pencil. Now I just again need to perform get metadata activity. Why? Why? Because the thing is, now I will just pick get metadata activity of that particular file. So folder is, we know, data trigger, or let's say trigger data. Okay, container is source, we all know, but here the file name will be item dot name. So this time it will just give me the metadata of the file, and now I can just pick field list of that particular file, last modified date. So this will just give me the last modified this time, instead of just giving me the whole thing, like the file name and everything. Sorted. Sorted. Okay, so what we can do now, we can simply apply an if condition here, and when we just apply if condition, we will just join it. Okay, and when we have if condition, what I will do, I will simply say in the if condition, I will simply say if my last modified date is greater than 10 days, I can simply use greater function here, like this, greater, and then you will simply pick the output of this get metadata activity, which is last modified. Then you will simply say, like, maybe let's say current date. Okay, or you can also use date difference to just get the difference of date. So we have like so many functions available. It's up to you how you want to proceed. So if you just go to functions, here we have logical functions. We have equals, greater, less or equal, not, and this. I think we have date functions. Uh, yes, we have so many. So you have like subtract from time. So it will just subtract the time of the this output and your current date, which is UTC now. So if it is greater than 10, then obviously you can just delete those files. And how you will be doing it? If that condition is true, simply click on this pencil. Then you will just apply delete activity like this, and then you will just pass on that particular file name into this. This is one way of doing it. This is one way of doing it. Okay. Okay, now if I just go back to for each, okay, if I just delete it, let's say I want to delete it, just delete this as well, just delete this for each as well. If I just click on the last modified instead of this, let me show you what will happen. Let me just click on debug and let's see what will be the output. So one way of doing it, you already know that you will just get the last modified date of that particular file, and you can just compare every time with your current UTC. This way, even if you are just running this pipeline tomorrow, it will just again just check the last 10 days again, because of the fact that we are using UTC now function. Okay, simple. Let me just see if we have the output. Yeah, we have the output. So now if you see, this is the last modified date of the whole folder, not the exact file. That's why we have to use it within the loop. Okay, that's why we have to use within the loop. I hope you got this concept, and I hope you will be able to build this pipeline and you will be able to actually do this thing. Okay, sorted. So this question is really, really, really special. Really? Yeah. You need to copy only those files which are not available in destination. This one-liner question will test your end-to-end knowledge, and just trust me. Just read this question again. You need to copy only those files which are not available in the destination. Okay. So, okay. Let me just tell you the scenario in detail. So let's say you have your source, okay, and you have your destination. Okay, perfect. Then you have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 files here, and in destination you just have 3 files, 1, 2, 3. Now you need to take care of everything, and you need to just build a pipeline which will just copy these 2 files. Let's say these 2 files are not available in the destination. You just need to copy these 2 files, and you do not need to touch any other file. You are not allowed. So how you can just do that? Let me just tell you the architecture first. So what we will do, now you are well versed with the get metadata activity and you know everything about that. So what we will do, we will simply build a get metadata activity on top of it. Okay, get meta, and we will also create get metadata activity on top of this as well. Okay, then we will use a filter activity. Then we will use a filter activity which will help to just compare both the values, and we will just carry forward only those values which are not available in destination. Sorted, sorted, sorted. Got it? I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Like, there are so many ways to do it. We can also try solving this issue with, let's say, append variable, in which you know that we can store the value in an array form, and then we can simply say, hey, just store the value in my variable, and then I can simply say just compare the records of both the values, and then we can just pass those values from this filter activity. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay, there are like so many ways, but I will just tell you the best way to do it, and let's try to solve it. So it's time to actually perform that activity, and I just mentioned that it will just test your end-to-end knowledge. So just be with me. We will build an amazing solution. Okay. So first of all, I have, by the way, real-time scenario according to this particular one. So if I just go to my storage account, if you remember, we have created a new folder. It's called trigger data. So in this one, we have all these files like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the trigger data we just have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for now I will simply delete this because we do not want this, And by the way, you can just download this from my GitHub repository. Okay, so in our source we have just 5 files, and in trigger we have 3 files. Okay, so in this particular case, this is our destination table. So now I also want to copy other 2 files. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so now what we will do, I think this trigger data will create a problem. So what we can do, we can simply go to containers and in the destination table, and we can simply create another directory, and we will simply say files. Simple, files. Okay, and this time we should just copy obviously all the files because we do not have anything. And just to make this scenario real time, I can upload one file which will actually test our pipeline. Okay, let me just quickly upload the file. So I have uploaded 2 files, returns.csv and products.csv, and now I can just start building my pipeline. So first of all, we will just run, or let's say create get metadata activity. Okay, and I will just show you both the scenarios because both the scenarios are unique and will actually prepare you to deal with real-time scenarios. And trust me, a lot of questions will only revolve around these activities like get metadata, filter, if condition. So that's why I have decided to just show you both the scenarios and both the ways to do it, because each way of doing it will teach you something great. Trust me. So get metadata one, and I will simply say get metadata source. Oh man, who is just tapping this button again and again? Source. Okay, and then I will just simply create one more, and I will simply say sync. Okay, perfect. This get metadata source will get the folder such as trigger data. Oh no, yeah, trigger data, because in trigger data we have 3 files. Okay, and container is source. Perfect. And this is my sync, and in settings we will simply pick this folder, and the folder is, I think, files, and container is destination. Perfect. So let me just run both the things. Okay, let me just click on cannot be empty field list. Oh yeah, now I just need to pick the field list as well, which is child items. Okay, perfect. In this as well I want child items. Perfect. Let me just click on debug. I picked it, bro. I picked it. Yeah, I picked it. Validate. Perfect. Done. Debug. So this will just give me the output of both the files, like what do I have inside both the files. And I will just show you that in sync I just have two, products and returns, and in source I have products, sales and sales. That means these 2 files are not there in destination, so these 2 sales files should be there, right? So what we can do, we can simply use filter activity, and in this basically filter activity, what it will do, it will take your array, we will apply a condition, and it will just filter the records. It will just filter the records, and it will just send some few records to the subsequent activity. Simple. Okay, now one thing is important. What will be my source for filter? What will be my source? Just tell me. Either it is this one or this one. The answer is sync, because we are comparing it with the sync. So I will simply attach it here. Okay, click on filter, it will say settings, items. What will be the items? It is sync dot output dot values as well. If we have values, I think we have child items, so it will be child items. Hey man, yeah, this is nice. Okay, child items, simple. So this is my iterations items. Now what is the condition? So before applying condition, obviously we need to connect this as well. So now when we will be applying condition, what will be the condition? Condition will be, we want to say contains, at the rate contains. Contains is a function that will just take a value. If we are using array, any array, then we will be using any. So it will just return a boolean. So if it is true, then only it will just send the data to the subsequent activities. Okay, sorted. Okay, very good. So now contains. So what it will do, in contains, first of all we will just mention our value that we need to compare, like which is our, let's say, value to compare, obviously value in which we are looking for a particular file. What is that one? So basically we are looking for the value. Which one, just tell me. So let me just repeat, this is really important, bro. So in the filter we have given items as sync, items as sync, because we need to compare each file coming from source, each file coming from source. So what we will do, we will check, hey, do our files, or let's say does the specific file which is this one source, which is source, is there in this particular activity or not. Okay, so in that particular scenario I think we should just use source as our filter, because we'll be using iteration on top of source. So this was source, not sync. This was the knowledge check for you. Yes, just here to this part again, because we need to use that activity which will perform iteration, which will pick the file one by one. And what is that particular source which we need to pick one by one? It is source, it is this get metadata source, this one. And this should be fixed, this should not be iterated, right? Okay, now just go to condition, then just say contains, then just pick the fixed array. Fixed array is which one? Fixed array is this one, sync. Sorted, 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 sorted. This is the fixed array. By the way, this is child items. This is the fixed array. Okay, this is the fixed array. Okay, then with what we need to compare? We need to compare it with item, because filter iterator is item, and this will be item dot name. If this name is there in this particular activity, then we will be going to copy this. Okay, okay, so this is one way of doing it. What is the second way of doing it? Let me just click on cancel. So what we'll be doing, this is get metadata, this is get metadata. If I just see the output, I should see child items, name and type. Okay, now what I will do, this is a fresh design or solution that I have just created, so I was really excited to implement it. So what I need to do, I will use a simple, like same logic but in a simpler way, and it will just use your conditions in a better way. Okay, and this will just eliminate all the doubts, all the confusions. So what we can do, we can store the value of sync in a variable, in an append variable. Let me just pull append variable. Okay, then I will just connect it, and then for that obviously I need to have a variable. So I'll simply say sync files, and I will assign the type as array. Perfect. Append variable settings and sync files. Perfect. Value will be my sync dot child items. Oops, these are the child items. Okay, or what I can do, wait, what I can do else. So this is my get metadata activity. Okay, now I want to store all the file names in a variable, in a variable. So what I can do, I can simply run a loop, and inside that loop I can just run that append variable activity, so that it can store only the file names, only the file names. Then what I will do, I will simply connect this get metadata source with another loop which will just fetch the values of these files. Okay, then I will compare each value of that variable, and then I will feed that value in that loop. I know it is really messy. I can just show you what do I mean. So let's say this value is stored, this value is stored. Okay, this value is stored in that particular variable. Just imagine that we have the variable here. This is a really a complex one, so that's why I'm just putting more efforts to explain this, and this can be asked in interviews, trust me, trust me. So this is your variable, and this will just hold all the file names in this particular variable name. Okay, get metadata sync is sorted. Now what we need to do, we need to apply a for each. Okay, here we will simply connect this with this one. I will keep it a little far from this. Okay, then I will simply click on settings and I will simply say source dot child items. Simple. I will go inside this. I will go inside this. So now what I can do? What I can do? I will simply use if condition, because within if condition, what I will say, I will simply say condition is, because I need to just give the expression and true or false condition. So I will simply say if contains contains item dot name, or let's say contains the append variable. Okay, for now we have system variables and we have variables here. Now I know this is empty, I'm just showing you this variables, and we can just simply say contains what? Contains item dot name. Item dot name. This is the logic, because if it is true, if it is there, then obviously do not do anything, just wait. And if it is false, then just perform copy activity here. In the false, just perform copy activity. And what will be the let's say source? Obviously the folder is source, sorry, trigger data, and then p file obviously will be item.name, because we are using a loop. Okay, item.name, perfect. And container will be source, simple. And in sync we can simply put folder, and folder will be our files obviously, or we can simply pick, let's say, parameterized CSV. Folder will be our files, p file will be item.name at the rate item. I know, bro, this is a complex one, so you can just watch this part again and again, because that's how you will learn. Item.name, and container will be destination. Oops, container will be destination. Perfect, perfect. And if it is true, then do nothing, just wait. I can simply add wait activity. Simple, simple. And now you will say, now it's time to actually assign the value. Yes, now it's time to assign the value to this. I will simply say for each. So this is my for each, and this for each should be here. And what will be the settings for it? Settings will be get metadata sync, obviously child items, perfect. And then within this I will create a set variable activity, not set variable, append variable activity, and this will get the sync files. Obviously what will be the value? The value will be item dot name, perfect. Once it is done, I can connect this loop with this one as well. So like, it's up to me whether I want to store this, or I can simply create one more append variable, and I can simply go to sync files. So sync files output, okay, sync files output, this will also be an array. I'm repeating, this is a complex one, you need to watch this part again and again, and it's fine. I will simply connect this one from here, okay, append variable here, and this will get the value as settings sync files output. What will be the value? The value will be sync files. Now I will connect this for each activity with this. Wow, this is done. This is the flow. This is the flow. Boom. Let me just check, do we have any errors? No. This is the flow. Simple. Let me just debug it. Oh, I can imagine some of the errors, because I just created this pipeline like tuck tuck tuck, and there can be some errors, but I'm not sure. I can just, by the way, this is the architecture. You can just try creating this pipeline and this should work. This should work. Obviously there can be some errors now, because I have just created the solution as well, the design as well. I'm not sure will it work or not, but according to the calculation this should work. And there can be like some minor issues, it's fine, but this is the thing. Okay, append variable 2 failed. Which is the append variable 2? Okay, this one. I can just check why it failed. So array type which cannot be appended to the variable sync files output of type array. The action type append to array variable only supports values of type float, integer, string, boolean, object. Wait. What is it saying? The input value is of type array. Okay, which cannot be appended to the variable sync files output of type array. Why? The action type append to array variable only supports values of type floats, integer. Oh, I see. Okay. Got it. So now the thing is, almost all the things worked fine. So now when we are just using this one, so it is not taking append variable. By the way, this is not required, trust me. Why? I can simply delete this. This was an optional step. I was just trying to show you the value, but it is not important you to see the values, because that particular variable will store the value, and obviously it is not important you to see the value. So I can simply click on this, and then I can just simply select this after this, and now I can just simply click on debug for one more time, and this should work fine. And yeah, it should work fine, because that step was just to show you that it is holding all the values. As you know that whenever we assign the set variable or append variable activity, we cannot actually see what value it is holding, because it stores the value till the runtime. Once your pipeline is completed, it does not hold any value, it just restarts. So that's why. But yeah, that is not important. So by the way, these three pipelines worked successfully. Now this is the one which is actually copying the files for you, and let's see if we have any minor issues in this or not. It's fine, because this is a fresh design, and this is not like that much complex. Oh, by the way, it ran successfully. Yeah. Well done, Ansh Lamba and all my lovely data fam. So let me just check the results. Let me just click on refresh. Boom. Well done. Well done. You have built a great solution. So if you understood the solution, it's good. If not, it's fine. You can just rewatch this part again and again. It's fine. Because obviously I just created this design like tuck, but it was required, right? It was required. So I hope you got the solution what I have done. It's so simple. Let me just summarize it for you. First of all, I applied get metadata on source, get metadata on sync. Simple. Then I stored all the values of get metadata into the variable using ForEach, because that's the only way we can store the value of all the files one by one. Once it is done, my variable is ready. Okay, this variable, inside this I have a variable bro. So this variable is ready. Okay, this is ready, and this is my get metadata. Then I went inside this for each. Okay, and I went inside this using this source, which will be used to pick file one by one. Okay, done. Inside this I have a lovely and cute if condition. When I just check the condition, it says if contains, if it contains what? This is the whole thing from where, or let's say, yeah, from where we are just finding the files. Contains within this the item. Within this whole list, do we contain this item? Do we contain? It says yes. If it says yes, so we say, bro, don't do anything, just wait. If it does not contain, then just copy this, and then just copy that data which is not there in the list. I hope. Now the thing is, if it would be so easily done, and instead of just showing the solution like design, why I implemented this design with you? Because now you can approach to so many real-time scenarios, so many real-time questions like this, because now you know how to build the pipelines, now you know how to imagine stuff, now you know how to imagine the flows, and how to actually dump your data from one place to another using any condition. This is something related to design, this is something related to architecture. Okay, this question is the backbone of so many questions, I know this. That's why I had to just discuss this in detail. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked it. Oh man, I hope. So let's see the next question. So in the next question, we have how would you call the secrets, or let's say a single secret stored in the key vault in ADF? So as we know that we can just store the secrets or credentials or sensitive information in the ADF, not in ADF, in Azure Key Vault. But obviously if we are using ADF, we would need to call those secrets or call those key vaults so that we can actually use the credentials or sensitive information. How we can do that? On top of it, I would like to add one more follow-up question. I want to use dynamic approach because I do not want to hard code anything, because there can be like so many keywords, there can be so many secrets. So I will be using a dynamic approach that will be an add-on to this question. So let's see how we can do this. So before actually performing this step, this is not an easy thing, because the thing is we would first need to go to the Azure, and then you will simply click on like search key vaults, and you would not be able to create one key vault. Why? Because you can simply click on plus create. Okay, then you will simply pick your resource group. Okay, then key vault name, I will simply say Ansh key vault. Ansh key vault, is it available? Yeah. So simply click on review plus create. So obviously you can create this. This is your just a key vault resource. You have not created a secret. I will just tell you how you can create as well, because by default you cannot. Earlier you could, but now they have just enhanced the security so that you cannot create the secret within the key vaults. So don't worry, I will just tell you how you can just do that. Basically this can be also your interview question, like how you can just create your key vault. And you can only answer this question if you have already created some key vaults. Otherwise, if you say, you can simply go to pre marketplace and just create and it is done. No bro, no. Simply click on go to resource. Okay, then just click on access control. Within this access control, you should have a role which is called, I will just tell you, which is called Key Vault Admin. See, Key Vault Administrator. Only then you will be able to create your secrets. Otherwise, no. No. Then click on next. Then click on user. And then obviously you will pick user and it will be you yourself. Then click on select. Then review plus assign. Then review plus assign one more time. Only then you will be able to create your key vault, bro. Otherwise, no. Now you can simply click on secrets, then click on generate. Name, you can give anything like ADF demo secret. Okay, oops, ADF demo secret. Yeah, okay, I will simply say ADF demo secret without any underscore. Okay, secret value, I can just put anything. I can simply put my name, Ansh Lamba. Okay, content type is same, and activation date is today's date, and time is this time. Everything is fine. Click on create. Otherwise you cannot create. No, otherwise you cannot create it. Okay, one more thing. If you would want to access this key vault using any outside application, or let's say any third party, or any let's say Databricks, because we just manage secret scopes, which is a very popular term in Databricks. So in order to do that, you cannot, let's say I have just created the secret, and if I want to use it, I cannot use it. Why? You can simply go to access configuration. Okay, and currently it is using Azure RBAC, which is Azure role based access control. It is fine, but if you want to access this key vault using Databricks, you should always pick vault access policy. Only then you will be able to use through Databricks. Obviously you can use it through this as well, but there will be like so much hustle to actually access the key vault, but this is the best one. I have personally used this one, so I love using this. So you can simply click on this, and then it will simply say go to access policies. Then you can simply go to access policies, simply click on OK, and then it should just work fine. Simply click on this. Oops, wait, access configuration, click on this, and then scroll down and then apply. But currently we are not using Azure Databricks, so do not worry. What is the second way of doing this? The second way of doing this is, let me just go to keys, or let's say secrets. Whenever we create key vault resource, obviously this time I simply clicked on create, but if you just go to, like, if you just click on next, then you will see this option. access control. Then you can just configure this option there as well in order to just create the key vault and access it as well. Okay, sorted, sorted. So now let's call this value. Let's say this value is saved, which is Ansh Lamba. Okay, and I want to use this value. Okay, I can simply go here and I can simply check the value. What is the secret value? This one. Obviously I can copy it. See, I can copy this value and I can use this value, but I will be using it through ADF. So I will simply go to Azure Data Factory. I will simply create one more pipeline, and in order to call this, I will simply use web activity. See, web activity. So in this, I just need to provide the URL of my secret. Okay, so I can simply go to my secret, and this is the secret identifier. I will simply copy this value and I will simply provide this value here. Perfect. Okay, perfect. What will be the method of using it? Obviously get. Okay, what will be the authentication? It will be system assigned manage identity, this one. But now our ADF is not allowed to use key vaults, right? So in order to do that, we will simply go to secrets, or let's say key vault. This is my Ansh key vault. Go to access control. We will assign one more role, and this role will be your contributor, key vault administrator, or let's say key vault contributor. This saying lets you manage key vaults but not access to them. Or you can simply say, let's create Azure Key Vault admin for now. Okay, and then we can simply say manage identities, then select members. Then we just need to search Data Factory. Okay, this one. Then we need to search our Data Factory name, this one. Okay, then select. That's why I was saying that if someone asks you like how to create a Azure Key Vault, it is not an easy step. So you should know all these things. You should just note it down somewhere so that you can easily revise those things so that you can actually answer all this. Now you can just access this using system assigned managed identity. What is the resource? So the resource is, you can simply go to documentation page. This is the resource that Microsoft asks us to provide. Do not worry, you can simply say resource is easily available on Microsoft website, because this resource is provided by Microsoft. It is not something that you should remember. It is not something that you should just design, you should just create, right? It is not that. Simply copy and paste it here. Then one more thing, this is your URL, right? Microsoft says that you should always add this thing, question mark API version 7.0. It is also written here that you must add this thing to the end of the URL. So simply paste it here. Okay, simply paste it here. Simple. Okay, simple. So now this will just give me the activity, and how we can validate it. I can simply go to variables. I will simply say value, or let's say var value. This is string, and I will simply say set variable activity. I will attach it here, and then I will simply pick this. And what will be the value? The value will be web activity dot output. Or let's disable it for now. Let's see what we get in return when we run this web activity. If we have any minor issues, we can fix it along the way. So this is the whole architecture of using web activity. It ran fine. Let me just check the output. So this is all the things. Value, as you can see, Ansh Lamba, this is my secret value. Now I will just store this value inside the set variable in order to use it somewhere else. By the way, it is an optional step. It is up to you. Now I promised you that I will create a dynamic approach, so that I can just create parameters and I can easily call any key vault and any secret. Okay, how we can just do that? Simply click on this output, expand the screen. You need to analyze. Oops, you need to analyze the URL, or let's say URI, uniform resource identifier. Okay, this is my key vault name, so I can create a parameter for this as well. Very good. Then all the things are same. Then this is my secret name. Okay, I can create parameter for this as well. Then this is my ID that we can get, so we can create parameter for this as well. Okay, or if you want to just keep it very simple, you can simply create parameter for this, obviously for key vault name, and then you can simply pick the parameter for your secret name along with this thing, so that every time you will be running your Key Vault, you can simply feed those parameters, and I can just show you as well. Don't worry at all, bro. So what I will do, I will simply create parameter and I will simply say p Key Vault name, and then I will simply say p secret info. Simple, both are string, I know. Then I will simply feed the value, and what are the values? I can simply first see the output. Okay, and value is, I can simply copy this if I want. Yeah, I want this. And simply copy it here. I will simply feed this value here. Okay, parameters, this is my value. Perfect. And this is my secret information, which is this one. Perfect. Now I can just change this value. How? I will show you. Add dynamic content. I will paste it here. Then I know that this information will be coming from my parameter. I will simply say Key Vault parameter. So I will simply remove this @ from here. I will add parameter here and I will simply add braces. Perfect. Perfect. Then I will do the same thing here as well, where I will do the same thing here at the place of secret info. Okay. I will simply paste this, and what is my parameter name? It is p secret info. Perfect. Now I can again run this. Okay, and I can actually feed the variable by saying value. Okay, I can activate it. I can say settings. The value will be output dot value. Perfect, 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 perfect. Now I will just simply say debug for one more time, and this is my dynamic approach. So if I have like multiple Key Vaults, multiple secrets, I can just use this strategy, and this failed. Wow, maybe something is wrong. API version must be specified. Oh, we forgot to add that question mark thing. Okay, no worries at all. We can simply say this as well because this is mandatory stuff. So I will simply add this at the end. No worries, bro. No worries. Cancel recursively, and then we will simply say debug. Okay. Okay, bro. This was a good one. This was a good one. Because this is the thing that we always use in the real world, and you should also know how we can just do this. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Now it should just run fine, and this should just return the value as Ansh Lamba. And this way you are not exposing your value, because when you will be just deploying your stuff in different environments, you cannot hard code anything. But yeah, you can just use your secrets without exposing it. So perfect. Now I can simply see the value of my variable. It is Ansh Lamba. Perfect, man. Very good. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done, my boy. Well done. Okay, this is done. This is done. This is done. Let's see what we have in our next question. And yeah, let's see. So your pipeline processes large data sets and sometimes runs out of memory. Okay, how would you avoid this? How? Did you get the question? What? So, bro, I'm really hungry. The only thing I have is fruits, nothing else. So, it is saying that you have like big data. Okay, let's say you are running your data flows. Okay, and you have obviously a data set. It is of big size, and sometime it runs out of memory. What you can do? So in these scenarios, you can do something called as partitioning. In the spelling right, partitioning. Okay, partitioning and data flows. Okay, because in the source option we get the data uh, partitioning options as well. You can set the partitioning as like single, as like multiple, or as like no partition. So you can just enable partitioning in data flows, which will just distribute your data, and it will just run your data in parallel, and it will just solve this, not completely solve this, but yeah, it will just mitigate this problem to some extent that is running out of memory. The second thing can be just like pruning your data as much as you can in the initial stages. So these are like two possible reasons that you can actually work to mitigate this thing. Okay, so we have a question. Your pipeline runs daily, but sometimes the same records get processed twice. How would you ensure idempotency? Wow, don't worry, this is not any medical term. so, so, idempotency is a very popular term. And by the way, sometimes you can directly get the questions such as, hey, just tell us how we can just eliminate the problem of idempotency. Then you will be like, hey, bro, hold on, we can resolve your problems, we can definitely, but just tell us like what is idempotency. So in that scenario obviously you will feel lost, and I do not want that. So basically you should just keep these technical terms in your mind, because that's where interviewers just make you feel that you do not know that thing, but that's not the reality. That's not the reality. You just do not know much about, or you just do not remember about that particular term. You just do not remember the meaning of that particular term. That doesn't mean that you cannot do that. Okay, just feel confident in your interviews, bro. Why? The thing is, the person who is taking your interview is not the best developer on this planet, is not the best data engineer on this planet. So if he or she is not the best data engineer on this planet, that means that person also does not know a lot of stuff, right? So you are also the same person who doesn't know like other stuff, but yeah, in your area you are the expert. Okay, so you should feel overconfident in your interviews. It's fine, trust me. You should obviously feel confident, but do not feel underconfident. Do not. Never, bro, never. Because on the show day, you are the only one. You are the star. But during your prep days, you are at the bottom. You should see everyone ahead of you. But on the show day, bro, you are the only one. You are the only one. No one is better than you. No one. On the prep day only. Only on the prep day. Not the prep day, just the show day. Just wanted to see how much attentive you are. Just on the show day. Even one day before the show day, you should be really working hard, and you should consider that you are not prepared enough. But on the show day, you should sit like you are an expert. You should sit like the person who is taking your interview doesn't know much as compared to you. Trust me. And there can be the scenarios. There can be the scenarios. So in this field, do not feel underconfident. Do not. Do not. Okay? Ansh Lamba, this is not your TEDx stage. So just keep your mouth shut. Okay. Basically, let's talk about idempotency. Why I'm so obsessed with TEDx? I don't know. I don't know, man. I just want to go there. That's it. And I know I'm going there very soon. You all are invited. You can come and just cheer for me if you want, if you love me. Okay, so idempotency. Let's talk about idempotency. Okay, so basically, it is also very well known as exactly once. Okay, it means that you have records. Okay, but you do not want to process them again and again. If it is processed once, that's it. That's it. You do not want to process them again and again. That's called exactly once. Or there's another definition for it. Or if you want to process them, those should not get added. Those should not get added to the destination. In that particular scenario, it will only update the records. That's why we use a term called upsert if we want to enable idempotency. That means if we have records in the destination, that way we just want to update the records. If we do not have any data regarding that source key, or let's say that primary key, then it will insert the data. So it becomes update plus insert. Okay. Okay. And how we can just enable this? We can enable this with the help of inline data sets in data flows, which actually creates a delta lake data set. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot enable absurd, you cannot enable these things. No, 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 no. No. I'm just talking about lakehouse. Do not say, hey, we can just do it using SQL, blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking about file system. I'm just talking about files. If you want to just perform absurd, okay, if you want to perform absurd on top of files, then you can only perform using inline dataset, using delta lake. You cannot perform using CSV, Parquet, JSON. No, no. Just use delta. Just use inline dataset. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. Perfect. Let's see our next question. So this question says your ADF pipeline must process files in a specific order. Wow. By the way, you can answer this question very well if you have observed carefully while we were performing our get metadata activity. If you have observed, then you can answer this question. Let's see. Example header.csv first, then data.csv. How would you enforce this? How? So basically, we can obviously run get metadata activity on top of any folder. Obviously, bro, come on. You can just perform that. Then it just returns you the number of files, right? Then we pass those values to the for loop, to the for each. Same thing, for loop, for each, obviously, because behind the scenes we are running for loop. Okay, got it? Okay, nice. But it parallelly runs all your files. By the way, that is a good thing. By the way, that is a good thing in most of the scenarios. It will just save you a lot of time. But in some scenarios, we have to process the files in a sequence. What you will do in that particular scenario? What? What? If you know the answer, love you, bro. If you do not, then obviously love you. Don't worry, I'll just tell you. So I will just take you to the Azure Data Factory. So here, if you just closely observe, if you closely closely observe get metadata. So in get metadata, I have settings button, okay, where I actually give the like any kind of child items, anything. Okay. Once I have the child items, then I connect it with the for each activity where I run the for loop. Click on this, then on the settings. Boom. This is your answer. Now we have the option to run the files in a sequence. If I just check on this box, then what it will do? It will first take the first value, it will process the loop, then it will go to second value. But if I just uncheck this box, it will parallelly take all the values and it will just process all the values parallelly. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. But when we just check on, like when we just click on this box, when we just check this box, then it will just run all the files in a sequence. Simple. This is the way to answer this question. Right? Sorted, sorted, sorted. Are you taking notes? Because the next question is really, really interesting. Really, that's a practical question, and that's a question that is recently added. Trust me, based on the scenario, based on like data movements and all. So let me just tell you what's that question. So this question is really, really interesting, bro. Trust me. So it says you have two different files. It can be so many files, but I will just tell you how you can just work with two files first. Then you can just easily work with 2000 files as well. You have two different files having different schemas. Possible, man, possible. You need to process both the files using single copy activity. Now you will say, what's the big deal? We can simply use copy activity the same way we used it in REST API. But there was a catch. I didn't enable mapping. I was using auto mapping in that. Okay, when we do not enable mapping, it doesn't actually worry about your, let's say, mapping. But when we are very strict towards our data, we intentionally want that if anything else, or if, let's say, if any extra column comes, we want our pipeline to fail. But how we can achieve this? Because if we will just enable the mapping, then it will just take the mapping of only one file. How it will just take the mapping of other file? Doesn't make any sense. And just remove this question. Shut up. I will just tell you how to do that. That's why I have included this question, so that you can learn. Okay, so I will just tell you how you can do that. It's called dynamic mapping. Okay, I will just tell you how you can just do dynamic mapping. It's really cool, man. It's really cool. So let me just take you to my home. No, let me just take you to my ADF, Azure Data Factory. So now what you can do, and let me just design the scenario. Okay, so this is my source. Perfect. And this is my trigger data. Let me just remove one file which is of same schema. Like, I know this is of same schema. So now products and sales obviously have different schemas, right? Then I will simply go to destination. Okay, then I will create a new directory. I will simply say dynamic map. Okay, dynamic map. Okay, save. Now I will just save the data here, but with mapping enabled. How we can do that? Okay, let me just tell you how we can do that. New pipeline, we can simply create dynamic mapping. Perfect. I will simply create a copy activity. Okay, then I will simply say copy dynamic. Perfect. What is my source? My source is, let me just pick the CSV. Okay, and obviously I would just need to run the loop. I will run the loop, don't worry my bro. I will run the loop, don't worry. This is trigger data. P file is my this file. What's that? Let me just copy the file name. Okay, container is source. Perfect. Now sync is destination, and the folder name is dynamic map. File name will be, let's say, same, and container name will be destination. Oh man, I'm really hungry. Do you have anything to eat? Do you have destination? Okay, perfect. Now if I just go to mapping, now I will say import schemas. Okay, so this is my schema. When I click on this, that means my mapping is fixed, bro. If I see any other column other than these columns, I will say, hey bro, your pipeline is failed. Just go home, your pipeline is failed. So what I will do now, I will tell you what I will do. I can simply click on add dynamic content, but before that, I will just show you what I will do. You just need to copy the mapping first. You should have the code for mapping. Only then you can just apply dynamic mapping, bro. Just click on these cute two brackets, or you can say code, source code. Click on this. This is your source code of your whole activity, or let's say whole pipeline. Just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Now you need to just copy everything after translator, like this, everything. So what it actually contains, see, it contains your tabular translator, mappings, source. It says source name is this one and sync name is this one. Obviously I can change the value as well. I can simply say order date. I can simply add another e. Oh, I know this is read mode, so I can simply say e, one more e. I can do so many stuff. I can just enable mapping, but dynamically. So I will simply copy this code from here. Okay, and I will simply copy the whole code till I get all the columns. So from where till where I need to just copy, I think till, I think here, if I'm not wrong, let me just check where it is ending. I think yes, this is the area where I need to pick. Okay, or I should just pick this curly brace as well. This is a little bit confusing. Just hold on. So this is the list type conversion, and if I just copy till here, then it will go here. No, that was right. That was right. So we can simply copy it till here. Till. Oops. Till here. Till here. Simply copy it, and then I will simply confirm this by saying JSON formatter. It is a good tool. If you have any doubts, you can simply see. It is saying right. Yeah, it is saying right. That means it is right. Okay. I can now simply paste this code here. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. This is my code for mapping number 1. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I think 1 is missing, or it's fine. So if you see, this is my type conversion. Okay. And type conversion of this type. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Or I think I should add this one as well. I think 1 is missing. Yeah. Because, yeah, 1 is missing. Because this is ending here. That's why indentation is really, really important. So you should also put that. Oh man. So I can simply add one more brace here. If we see any errors, it's fine. Okay. So this is my mapping number 1. Okay. This is my mapping number 1. Perfect. Now I will simply close it. I will simply pick another source, which is another file, which is products.csv. Okay. Simply say this. Simply say this. Perfect. Now I will go to import schemas, and I will import another schema, which is of different file. So this is a new schema. I will do the same steps. Okay. Table properties. This is fine. Simply go to translator, and then from translator just pick everything. Everything means everything. Just pick like till here. Okay. Just put till here. Oh, not till here. Till here. Yeah. Till here. Just pick till here, and then I will simply duplicate it, and I will simply paste this new mapping here. Okay. Why you want to know my location, man? Why? Or I can simply confirm it with JSON formatter. This is really important. Just pay attention. Parse on line 142. Really? That means the previous one was right. See, if I just paste it here, yeah, previous one was right. We do not need to include this one. Just remove it. I think this is fine. Yeah, it is fine. So here as well, we can just remove it. Then we can simply say, yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. Let me just copy and paste it here. Perfect. This is my mapping number 2. So now it's time to actually perform those stuff. So I will simply click on delete mapping. I do not want your mapping. Now what I will say, I will simply pick dynamic mapping. I will click on dynamic mapping. But before that, I will create a parameter. I will create a parameter, and I will simply say mapping 2, because this is map 2, and I will simply say p for parameter, p map 2. And what will be the type of it? The type will be object, because this is a JSON. So I will simply say object, and I will paste that mapping here. Simple. Now I will go to my mapping. I will say dynamic content. I will simply pick this parameter. That's it. Now I have not hard coded any mapping, but mapping is applied. So I will simply click on validate. Validation is done. I will simply click on debug. Okay. Don't worry. I will just tell you how you can just pull the mapping for other file as well, and how you can just perform it. I just want to test it now that it works fine, because of that one curly brace issue. I just want to figure it out. That's it. So if it runs fine, that means that is fine. I can simply go to my destination now, and you will see files, and you will see I think it was here, destination and dynamic map. See, one file is copied. If I just check the mapping, it is exactly the same. And let me just tell you one more thing, what you can do with dynamic mapping. You can actually Let me just go to parameters. You can actually change any value as well. Any value. Let's say you want to say product key ansh. That is a test for you that it will automatically, let me just remove this file first. It will automatically assign that column value to that. Let me just click on debug. Let me just click on debug. So it will just run this exactly that way. So it is fine. Let me just show you, bro. Hold on. Let me just show you the column name. I'm not lying. See, now the new column name is product key ansh. That means I can just give any mapping dynamically. Now it's time to provide the dynamic mapping using a loop. So let's say this is like just one activity, right? Now you would say, hey Ansh Lamba, why we are using dynamic mapping? Because this is just one copy activity. We can simply say mapping. We can simply delete it and we will simply import it. That will just do our work. Why you're doing all this stuff? So I will say, bro, just give me some time. I will explain it. What I will do, I will simply run a loop. I will simply run a loop. Okay. So I will simply say for each activity, or let's say my get metadata activity first to bring the file names. Okay. And this will bring the file names from trigger data. Perfect. Container is source. Perfect. Then information is child items. Perfect. Now I will run a loop for each. Okay. For each will be connected to this one. For each will get the value as output of get metadata dot child items, and this copy data activity will go inside this one. You already know. Perfect. Now this source will get the container and container is source, and p file I do not need to hard code it. I will simply say item dot name. Simple. Sync will be same item dot name. Oops. Item dot name. Perfect. Now is the thing. Now is the thing. Because we do not need to apply like this. Now I will tell you the main game. So now I need to create one more parameter and I will simply say p map1, and this map1 will be of object type. Okay. And the value of this is this one that we already saved. I will simply paste it here. Now I will go inside this. Okay. I will go to the copy activity. Then I will simply say mapping dynamic content. Now I will apply an if condition that at the rate if, okay, contains what? The file name. File name is item dot name. Okay, this is my file name. If it contains something called as sales, okay, that means I want to apply mapping 1. So go to parameters. This is my map 1. Otherwise, apply map 2. This is my condition. It says if my file name contains sales, that means I want to use mapping 1. Otherwise, use map 2. Makes sense, right? Simply click on OK. So this is your pure dynamic mapping. Let me just remove the file from here. Yeah, I don't have any file. Now I will just run this. Simply click on validate first, debug, and then OK. OK. So this is the real pipeline. This should work fine. This should work fine. Let's see. Like there can be like some minor issues, I don't know, but yeah, this should work fine. Because obviously when you're developing something, you are not robot that you can just develop everything in one go. And even robots can make mistakes, so not a big deal. And this robot has also made a mistake. By the way, one worked fine and second one didn't. Why? Why? Because Product subcategory key specified in the column mapping cannot be found in. Really? Oh, I see, 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 I see. I see. Because I have provided wrong mapping, like I just reversed the order. So it says product subcategory key field specified in column mapping cannot be found in adventure work says 2016.csv. So maybe I just picked the wrong one. Maybe I wanted to pick this one. So this is product key, this is order date, and this is saying product subcategory key. Where is that? Okay, I got it. I got it. What is the issue? So this is the file sales. Okay. By the way, do we have sales? Just check the condition that I have provided here. Just a minor bug, and not a bug, just a typo. So instead of saying small s, we just need to put capital S. That's it. Now let me just rerun it. Just a typo, because this is not a SQL that is not case sensitive. It is a case sensitive software. Okay, so now this should just work fine. Not a big deal, bro. Not a big deal. Just a typo. Just a typo. Just a typo. Just a typo. Punch Lamba eat something. Okay, one ran fine. Oh, both ran fine. Very good. Let me just show you both the files. Yes, we have both the files. Both the files. And yes, both ran successfully with dynamic mapping. Let me just click on publish all. What's the issue? Okay, I got it. Let me just remove other files, delete. Oh, not this one. Delete, 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 delete. Perfect. Now just publish all. So this is your pipeline. This is your pipeline to actually perform dynamic column mapping. Okay, sorted, sorted, sorted. So this was your Azure Data Factory interview question series, and I hope you learned a lot. And if you already knew most of the stuff, I hope you revised all the concepts, all the questions, and now you are all set to sit in the interviews. Specifically for the practical ones, you are all set, bro. Trust me, you are all set. You can easily build pipelines. You can easily tell about the activities. You can easily build flows. It's all good, man. It's all good. You know concepts, you know practical, you know real-time scenarios, you know everything. Just sit in the interviews and just send me the message that you are selected. I'm waiting for your message. And there's one takeaway for you. If you are just preparing just for the interviews, then it's fine. If you're just trying to upskill yourself in the world of data engineering, that you should just complete your end-to-end data engineering project to put in your resume, and just click on the video coming on the screen, and I will see you there.